Could I coach the Panthers to a Super Bowl win? That was the question as we entered the game with the Lions with a hot start like we did. I called a perfect pitch out to running back Miles Sanders to get us our second score of the game. And from there, it was just a light show from quarterback Bryce Young and wide receivers DJ Chark, Brandon Aiyuk, Christian Watson, running back Miles Sanders, as we just kept racking up those touchdowns as DJ Chark took it in for a long score. I was happy with all these scores as Chuba Hubbard took it into the end zone, and I was happy I was making the right calls. Bryce Young dropped back again and found Christian Watson, who found separation and destroyed all two of the Lions' defenders. I was having a great day, but it was ended when Aiden Hutchinson stripped the ball from me and they got their first big play. But we bounced right back, throwing another touchdown pass to Christian Watson, and we were on fire. It already looked like we were going to punch our ticket, and we did, defeating the Detroit Lions by a lot of points. And we came into that match fired up. We went into a match with the Dallas Cowboys, and we were the heavy favorites, seeing that we beat them by 3 earlier this season, and we started off with a long touchdown pass to Christian Watson. We just kept grinding, and Bryce Young was using his legs to get us first downs. Me and Mike McCarthy seemed to have a big rivalry growing, and I was excited to continue it in this divisional round as Miles Sanders punched in another touchdown. I was still making the right calls, and I was going to get a head coaching job, maybe in college or maybe in the NFL. As Eddie Pinheiro nailed a fake, I tricked y'all out to a big man touchdown to the offensive lineman. And I was happy with that successful, historic call, as I threw another touchdown to Christian Watson, who just kept torching all these opposing defenders. Mike McCarthy was worried, and he should have been, because Bryce Young kept racking up those good plays. With that touchdown, he looked like an actual stud. He looked like he was going to win the MVP, and I was happy with my calls and what I was doing with this offense. After that happened, I knew that the Cowboys didn't even stand a chance, and so did everybody else, because I was just an offensive genius that game. Since I was going to be taking my talents somewhere else, like the Michigan Wolverines, I had an offer from their head coaching job, and I was definitely going to take that offer after I wanted to take the Carolina Panthers all the way this season. We walked out of AT&T Stadium with a statement win against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. We were ready to take on the Atlanta Falcons, our rivals, in the NFC Championship game. I was excited for this matchup, and yeah, let's get into it. The Falcons were the heavy favorites this game, and I was going to prove everybody wrong with my correct calls, and this was the most hyped game in the country. As you can see, this was a very hyped game. It was the most hyped game in the country, and we were hyped up. The fans were hyped up. The Falcons were hyped up, and they should have been, because this was going to be a top-tier matchup. The championship started, and we fast-forwarded all the way to the fourth quarter, where we were in a bad situation. 27-21, Falcons lead. And Bryce Young just led us right down the field with ease. My man was looking like the best quarterback in the country, and he solidified that when he threw this touchdown pass. I made this drive look easy, and yeah, I just we marched right down the field in a clutch situation, and Bryce Young and Miles Sanders just went to work with their powerful offensive plays. DJ Chark got a catch, and the 2-minute warning happened. We ran the ball all the way down the field to extend the time down, and that's when we started burning Atlanta's timeouts. 2 timeouts burned. Then I went with the smart decision with knees, and we just took out all their timeouts, and we run the play clock all the way down to 1 and kneeled it, and that is when we solidified ourselves into the history books. Eddie Pinheiro nailed the field goal that sent us to the Super Bowl, and we had punched our ticket there. I have made a lot of coaches upset in my career, and that was my goal for the Super Bowl against John Harbaugh and the Ravens, as we were set to take them on in Super Bowl 59.
Good. He got it, and with that, they are off to the Super Bowl.
I have made many coaches upset in my NFL career, and as you can see, we have won by 1 point, and I was so excited to be punching my ticket all the way to the Super Bowl against John Harbaugh and the Ravens. And yeah, the players were excited. I just kept grinding with the boys, and the NFC finally over. And here's the playoff picture so you can see our horrendous journey all the way to the Super Bowl. 7 seed Carolina, 4 seed Baltimore. Here we go in Dallas. The final game as a Carolina Panther for me was going to be a miraculous one, and I was excited to get this one underway since it was my final game as a Panther. We started off with a jet sweep, and Ayuk ended up losing the ball, and they ended up taking it back all the way for 6. So 7-0 Baltimore. On our next drive, Bryce Young rolled out and used what he does best, his legs, and we're lucky that ball rolled out of bounds. Eddie Pinheiro got us our first points of the game, and I was already looking for the Super Bowl of a decade. I put a backup center at fullback and ended up succeeding very well as we scored. Bryce Young threaded the needle again, but Ayuk fumbled again, and we were lucky to get Humphrey out of bounds. Bryce Young did it again. He did a miraculous bobble play, and DJ Chark took it all the way for 6. Needed to end the half. I was excited for the most anticipated halftime show of a lifetime. After a long halftime show, and it was very great, John Harbaugh and me were ready to play once again. Bryce Young started the second half with an absolute laser beam into the end zone. As you can see, I was very happy about that. And yeah. And there you go. As we made the best field goal of our life, it was finally time. And I'm just going to let you guys sit back and watch the final drive as I watch my defense absolutely obliterate Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. But first, you guys had to watch this amazing drive.
This to about the 44-yard line. And we've reached the 1-minute mark in this game. Jackson. He finds Bateman over the middle. And they're going to get this down to about the 37. Jackson to throw. Pressure comes in. He's brought down. It's a Panther sack. Ravens going to use.
After they used their final timeout, I knew it was our destiny to win the Super Bowl. Jackson dropped back through a complete pass to Mark Andrews, and there was only one play left for them to do, and it was a straight-up Hail Mary. But instead, Jackson threw this interception, and that was the game. Jair Alexander had iced the game for us, and we were going to be Super Bowl champions on the kneel down from Bryce Young. We drafted him 2 years ago, and he lived up to his potential as he brought us a Super Bowl to town, and I did too. And yeah, John Harbaugh was so emotional and sad, but I was so happy because this boosted up my job offers, and I was getting a head coaching job at the University of Michigan, and I was so happy to finally host my first championship of my entire coaching career, and I was so happy. The field was happy, fans storming the field as the Super Bowl had ended and football season was gone, at least for now. As John Harbaugh exits the field in his final season, Bryce Young wins the Super Bowl MVP and the regular season MVP. As two emotional players hug, I finally get to host my trophy, my Lombardi trophy, on the stand. As we watch this memorable season, many players that will be historic and go down in the record books of the whole entire National Football League. That was my Carolina Panthers episode. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.